Hello my friends, Dr. Andrew Lobaz here, and today we're going to talk about the stomach. And what we want to talk about is, how does the stomach actually work? What does it do? What's the mechanism behind it? And so a lot of times what we need to look at is, this is what our stomach kind of looks like. What we want to have in the stomach is a normal amount of acid. And here's how this actually works. So a lot of times people think that if you have too much acid, then you should be on what's called a proton pump inhibitor. Some of you know these by Nexium, Prilosec. What's important that you understand is the mechanism of what they actually do and kind of what they are. Now, here's the thing. I believe the way that God designed us is that we actually have things there for a reason. So a lot of times people will come into the office and they say, I have acid reflux, which what they look at that is too much acid coming up into the stomach. And so what the doctor gives them is this PPI, and the action of what they try to do is decrease this stomach acid. So they think, oh, now I won't have these issues. The body itself is designed to have acid in it. That's what's supposed to happen. And the basic way that I can explain this is let's say, for instance, you take hydrogen peroxide and you pour it on your finger. Well, it's not going to hurt. As a matter of fact, it might even get kind of cold, right? Because it vasodilates and things get cold. Well, what happens is let's say you cut your finger and then you pour hydrogen peroxide on it. Some of you have probably done this and it burns, right? That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to burn like that. Well, here's the crazy part. Your stomach is actually designed to be able to handle the pH of this stomach acid. It's supposed to be there. Now, if we look at what the stomach actually does, is it sterilizes things. Don't think about it as it's burning up food, but it kind of does. But really what the main mechanism, and if we can think of this as a sterilizer, what's going to happen is when we eat food, the stomach is supposed to have acid in it, and it's supposed to sterilize your food so that it can go into the small intestine, the large intestine. It breaks down the food, and then it basically kills off all the little bugs that are there. So what we want to do is we want stomach acid there. We don't want to lower the stomach acid. So that's the main thing I want you to understand is when you take stomach acid away from the stomach, it's not going to function like it should again. Now, part of chiropractic care says this: we need the nerve that's going to that stomach, we need it to be free of interference so that the stomach can actually get the right message. So this is number one for me. In my office, we keep the nervous system strong by keeping the spine adjusted and keeping this nerve free flowing to the stomach. We don't want to see a pinch on this. The second part is we want to keep stomach acid in there so that the stomach is actually going to function like it's supposed to. It's supposed to be there, guys. The problem that I see a lot of times is that these doctors, they'll say, oh, you have stomach acid? And the patient, yes. And the doctor says, oh, well, take this and you'll be good. Well, what they don't realize, and I'm going to show you in just a minute on the computer screen, it causes a plethora of problems. And we don't want that. It might help you today. Like most people would say, do I want to win the lottery, or do I want to get a job that I can actually save and make a lot of money? Everyone's going to want to win the lottery, right? It's quick and it's easy. So a lot of times people will go, the more natural route, and they'll say, well, let's take ginger, or let's take this or that, and it'll help calm it, or alkaline water. Well, sure, it'll help it calm down for a short time, but the problem is there. So how do we fix this? How do we get the problem where we have the stomach producing too much irritation, is too inflamed in there? How do we fix that? That's what we want to look at. And the first thing we want to do is we want to keep the spine adjusted. Number one. Number two, we need to get your foods tested, and we want to see what foods are you eating that's causing too much inflammation in your stomach and causing this to go haywire. So that's super important. We can do this test here in the office. What we actually do is we have a kit that you will take to a lab, and they will pull your blood, and then in a couple days we get the results back and we go over all that. But that's super important. We want to see what is going on in your stomach that's causing all this issue. It's not a lack of Tums and Nexium and all this that's doing this. Those things are actually hurting you.